All right, guys. So as you guys can see from the logo below, or on my jacket, I'm a huge Bills fan, and I know I'm gonna get some heat. I know that I can just look at the comment section right now, and people are gonna call me crazy. They're gonna call me a hater, um, but I don't care. At some point, we got to take the bias away. At some point, we have to look at both stances. At some point, we have to really look at ourselves. We have to ask ourselves and say, is Josh Allen really a top 100 player based off of 2019? Josh Allen has a ton of upside. Josh Allen is a guy that came out of college out of Wyoming, had not the greatest 2017 year. Matter of fact, it was a horrible year, but it's not really entirely his fault. He was known as a project quarterback, but the upside was there for him. Not a lot of people expected Josh Allen to get to the point that he's at. Out of all the quarterbacks, out of that quarterback class, I still have Josh Allen third, right behind Baker Mayfield, only because Baker Mayfield had that really good rookie year. Second year was a down year, but we gotta again, Josh Allen. I have him three for now, but that's not necessarily a bad thing as well. I think Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and then I have Josh Allen with Sam Darnold at number 4. I know some people bring up all different types of stats, saying, well, Josh Allen, if you look at the last 8 games, was even better than Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers had a down year, right? I'm one of the people that say Aaron Rodgers had a very, very down year. And I know that the NFL Top 100, they'll still rank Aaron Rodgers in the top 20. Aaron Rodgers should be at least in the 90s or the 80s. But let's be frank, let's be honest here. Josh Allen's not a top 100 player. And it's not a bad thing at all. There are over 1,700 players in the NFL. There are a lot of good players in the NFL, more than 100 good players in the NFL. I'm not gonna be like Colin Hurt, whatever his name is. I'm not gonna be like Colin and say he's not even in the top 200. I'm not gonna sit here and say that because Josh Allen, I think, proved that he's a good player. Josh Allen proved that the upside is there. He made a lot of dynamic plays, not with his arm, but with his legs. But there were a lot of flaws to Josh Allen's game. I'm one of the people and I will sit here and say I've watched every Bills game, and I will tell you that Josh Allen did not carry the offense. Josh Allen wasn't I won't even say that he really wasn't the motor behind that Bills offense. Now, I will say he was a big impact player for the Buffalo Bills. But I would say that Quentin Spain had a much bigger role on that offensive line, making that offensive line better than it actually was. Quentin Spain was, in my opinion, a bigger impactful player. I look at Devin Singletary of what the threat he brought, not just in the running game, but in the receiving game. And that goes to Quentin Spain because Quentin Spain helped he helped when it came to just run. He was the bully on that offensive line. He was the best run blocker, one of the best pass blockers on that Buffalo Bills offensive line unit. Right? You look at the defense, and I've always said this. The Bills' defense, in my opinion, besides the Patriots, had the best defense in 2019. I know people will say that the 49ers were great and that they're the most. I would say the 49ers are the most talented. The Ravens' defense was good, but if you actually take a look and look at what the Bills did, right, with shutdown corner Tre'Davious White, with the defensive front they had with Jordan Phillips and with Star Lotulelei, and then obviously Ed Oliver, about the impact that he was able to do. And then we had rotation players, but for the most part, Corey Lugitt, who we brought from free agency, had a phenomenal impact on that Buffalo Bills defensive line, especially in the run game. Shaq Lawson was one of the best edge defenders in the league, and then obviously one of the best safety duos in the league with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde made a huge impact in that secondary, especially when it came to throws across the middle. But, we have to stop with this and say that Josh Allen carried this Buffalo Bills team to the playoffs, because I keep hearing this. He didn't carry that team to the Buffalo Bills for the Buffalo Bills to get to the playoffs. The defense did. That defense kept us in so many games. People will bring up the Josh Allen comebacks, and I can't take that away. Josh Allen had a lot of comebacks. Josh Allen led us to a lot of wins. But it was the offense that put us in the bad position, that put us a lot in the bad positions, that actually had us in close games. It was the Bills' defense that kept us from actually being blown out. That was actually the problem for 2018. We had no offensive firepower. It wasn't that the Bills' defense was bad in 2018. If you look at the statistics and you look at everything they did, yes, even though the Bills allowed a lot of points on defense, they were still statistically on both passing and rushing, and also when it came to almost every defensive statistic, they were still one of the best. The problem was that the offense didn't have any star power. They couldn't get it going. It was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And the Bills' offense did improve with Brian Dable. It did improve with Josh Allen and that offense. But that defense got even better than it was. It got even better than what it was in 2018. They had more pass rushers. They had a more interior pass rushing motive with Jordan Phillips and Corey Lugia and Shaq Lawson rushing from the inside in one of those cases, and with Tremaine Edmonds with the step that he took. Now that dude should have been in the top 100. Tremaine Edmonds should have been in the top 100. Jordan Poyer, about the impact, about he was he was more of a zone coverage guy that can play as a nickel, that could be that extra defender coming off the edge. He was that extra linebacker if we needed him to be it. Jordan Poyer, in my opinion, had a more impactful year than Josh Allen did. Now, again, people will look up they will say, well, he was dynamic in the run game. He had all the rushing touchdowns. He had a 20 to 9 touchdown to interception ratio. Right? He threw for over 3,000 yards. He completed his completion percentage, and almost everything about Josh Allen was a huge step up compared to his rookie year, and I agree with that. The upside is there for Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen. Some people will say I'm a hater because I actually believe that Josh Allen, because I don't believe that Brian Dable is the right fit for Josh Allen, to be honest. I think that, honestly, Josh Allen actually could have done a lot better if he just would have had an offensive coordinator that would fit Josh Allen's tendencies. But, again, that's an argument. That's an argument for another day. I like Josh Allen. I like the upside on the kid. And I think that year 3 with Stephon Diggs being there with the offensive line, all of them literally playing together. Remember, this was an offensive line that was entirely new. This offensive line came together, especially led with Mitch Morse there, with Quentin Span as being, in my opinion, the best offensive line in the offensive lineman on the team. I think that the offensive line will definitely step up and be a big improvement. Devin Singletary should definitely deserve more carries because, again, he missed 4 games. He missed around 3-4 games, and he didn't even play in the Jets game. If he did, the dude would have had over 1,000 yards. I think that Devin Singletary is one of the most underrated running backs in the league. Stephon Diggs, John Brown, Cole Beasley, I think is one of the best receiving corps on paper. I think Josh Allen steps up, and I think he will be a top 100 player this year if we do have a football season this year. But based off 2019, you are not going to sit here and tell me he was better than Devin Bush, that he was better than Devin White. You're not going to sit here and tell me that he was. I'm sorry. You're not going to sit here and tell me he's better than Marlon Humphrey, who's one of the top 3 best cornerbacks in football. You're not going to sit here and tell me he's better than Levante David. You're not going to sit here and tell me he's better than Cameron Hayward or Calais Campbell. He's not. And I like Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is around that 120 mark-ish. Again, there are a lot of good players in football. Josh Allen is just not there yet, in my opinion. Again, the players voted for this. I can't argue with that. The players voted for this, but are the players always right? I mean, let's be honest. J.J. Watt at one point was top 10 when he played only 2 games. So we don't even know what the players are basing this off of, whether if it's bias, whether if it's based off whether it's based off their career. We don't even know what this list is based off of. Like, the players are voting for it, but what is it based off last year, or is it based off of, what is it? So, I know that's definitely what some people are going to tell me in the comment section, where the players vote for it, but let's be honest. Larry Fitzgerald is inside the top 70. And we all know Larry Fitzgerald's a good player. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's not a top 100 NFL player. Let's be real here. You're not going to tell me he's better than Courtland Sutton. And Sutton he didn't even make the list. And he was a huge impact on that Broncos receiving game. As a matter of fact, on that Broncos offense. If not the most impactful player on the team. So I like Josh Allen. The upside's there for Josh Allen. I just don't think he's ready yet to be a top 100 NFL player. Anyway, guys, that's just my thoughts. Go Bills.